and hop into the action.
Again, players in the Players Q qualifier, your pairings.
Just shuffling up. Going to grab our 7s here. Shoutouts to Sam Berkenbile, sporting the Iron Maiden shirt. Always like to see a little metal representation when we're watching our feature matches. You a big metal fan, Craig?
I was in my day.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just an old man. I'm just boring now.
Okay. Well, I am also very old. Love the metal. Iron Maiden, not one of my favorites, I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
But still, love to see the support for the genre.
Well, and we've talked about music a little bit from time to time and the type of stuff that we were into. Iron Maiden just a little bit before our time.
A little bit.
We talked more about, I don't know, Tool and Nine Inch Nails and things like that.
Sure. I'm a big Death Heaven fan these days. My favorite band presently.
Yeah, I was thinking of picking up like an Enya t-shirt or something.
Okay, that's pretty hardcore, Craig. Really show what you're about with that Enya t-shirt.
Yeah. Fund my retirement account a little more.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, you got to diversify.
Just all the wild things you do as an adult.
Players drawing their openers here. Looks like we got a mulligan over on Sam's side.
I hope I haven't offended all of our Enya fans out there with my slightly farcical reference.
Sail Away is a jam, for sure. I'm going to give you an Enya deep cut, too. Only Time. Check it out. Put it in your Spotify right now. Only Time by Enya. It's a good song, Craig. It really is.
I'm familiar with the song.
I have obliterated my metal credibility at this point, by the way, by
knowing multiple Enya
dropping
songs.
Enya deep cuts, but what can you do? I love all music. It all has its merits. I also love all Magic decks, and I'm particularly fond of this Gruul aggro deck. I hyped it up quite a bit as we did our pre-show earlier this morning, but despite all of that, I ultimately went with Kevin Hoang, and it basically came down to the fact that he had the play in this matchup.
Sure.
So far, up 2-1 is Kevin. Looks like both players on a mulligan here.
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, talking about this Gruul deck, we were saying it's so consistent in what it does, but if the opponent doesn't disrupt it very much, it's still so powerful.
Right. Another mulligan for Kevin. Ooh, not a great start. And we know how consistent the starts are from this Gruul aggro deck. If you went down to 6 and you kept, you probably found turn 1 elf, turn 2 3-drop. In most instances, you're going to have it.
Yep.
Kevin, not with the same instilled consistency. There is once upon a time, there are not mana creatures. And this is a big break point for this Hardened Scales deck. This is very different from the Lotus Box approach where they did max the creatures. And I thought that was actually the solution. I was really pleased with their build. Kevin has other ideas, though. He's the one holding all the chips, too. He's in the top 8.
Oh, man. It looks like another mulligan from him.
Oh, boy. And particularly for Hardened Scales, this is devastating. Because Hardened Scales needs to combine its cards into meaningful threats.
Yeah, I mean, this list, working with Experiment 1 and Pelt Collector, you need other creatures to make them effective. You have cards like Hardened Scales and Winding Constrictor, where you need other cards with counters to make them effective. And if you're going down to 5 or 4 or less, like, you just don't have enough pieces for all of these cards to be powerful.
Exactly right. Kevin's going to have to put together a real miracle here to find a way into this game. Also on the draw, which is a huge break point. There you see 1. There you see 2. You got to give us one more, Kevin. I'm sorry. Debates the 3rd inclusion. Heads to the bottom of the library, and we are ready to start. Lovestruck Beast, no elf.
This is a little surprising, but
you're down to 6.
Yeah, Sam did already mulligan once.
There's nothing wrong with an early Lovestruck Beast either, especially when your opponent is in the mulligan clutches as well. So there you see a Shaheen Sarani token on the battlefield. Going to go ahead and get into the red zone. Smuggler's Copter as a 2-drop. That's a nice one. I wonder if we have a red source yet. See double basic forest to start. Here's Hardened Scales. Once Upon a Time going to be cast. Sees a Hangerback Walker, a land. Can we combine the Hardened Scales in hand with this Hangerback Walker in some meaningful way?
This is super tough because if I'm on Kevin's side of the board, I'm saying I want to play the Walking Ballista in my hand, blow up the 1/1, and hope that my opponent is just kind of stuck where he is. He's missing a color. He doesn't have anything to crew the copter right now. Maybe he misses a land drop, doesn't play the beast, doesn't crew the copter, and I've just bought myself a free turn.
Oh, there's also a Walking Ballista among the top 5.
But there's also that I have the Hardened Scales in my hand. I could get so much more out of these Walking Ballistas as the game moves forward.
And that's the line he's going to take. He's just going to play the Hardened Scales here. Sam takes a draw, slow rolls it a little bit. He's looking for something. He found a mountain, I believe.
Mountain is a great draw, I believe.
As good as it gets, I think.
And even if he whiffed there, he'd have another chance with the copter online.
Going to crew up the copter.
Or
Fatal Push at the ready, though.
He wouldn't. Okay.
And now Lovestruck Beast comes down. Kevin takes a draw. Going to get to do the Ballista thing. This isn't bad for a mulligan to 4, Craig.
Yeah, he's controlling that Lovestruck Beast.
Kills the 1/1.
Has the Hardened Scales online. Yeah.
And Sam's hand looks like Glorybringer, Harvester. Kevin just passes the turn back. A draw from Sam finds Goblin Rabblemaster. That's going to come down. Makes a token. There's Cedric hopping onto the battlefield. 2 Questing Beast Glorybringer is the hand for Sam. Rabblemaster going to crew up Harvester. Going to attack, gain a little life.
Yep.
Now the turn heads back.
Oh, this is
to Kevin. Second Walking Ballista on 3 due to Hardened Scales. Takes out the Rabblemaster. Sam takes a draw. Elvish Mystic. That's going to come down. Cruise up the Harvester. And we get to attack with everyone.
Yeah, so it feels like Kevin's been making some very good plays for his position in this game. But on the other side, Sam still has some very big bodies, multiple cards in his hand. I feel like Kevin's in a really rough spot.
Yeah, if Sam is able to find some lands, things get dicey in a hurry. Gonna go ahead, put 2 more counters on that Walking Ballista. No land, look like another Glorybringer. Lot of fat in that hand for Sam. Lovestruck Beast going to crew up Harvester. Sam at 26. Okay, that was in a braid. That's meaningful. Questing Beast. Fine. Not spectacular here.
I was going to say, it probably ends up just trading.
That's a good draw, though. Questing Beast time. Crew up that Harvester. And that is going to get the scoop. And that means we're headed to a deciding Game 5 between Kevin Hoang and Sam Berkenbile. Man, this top 8 delivering the tension, the close matches, a bunch of Game 5s. 3 of our 4 matches going to Game 5s. We had the 1 runaway.
Yep. It'll happen.
3 out of 4 ain't bad, though. Sam going to take a little break before he has to play Game 5, compose himself a little bit. It gives us a little bit more time to chat about this matchup, Craig, because obviously we started elsewhere. We didn't really get to give the full detailed analysis that we like to do. We did talk about it in the pregame, but let's rehash some of those points. Talk about how you see this matchup playing out between Hardened Scales on Kevin Hoang's side and Sam Berkenbile's green-red aggro.
So a lot of these decks, it looks like just big, good creatures, but there's a lot of synergies going on here. I really appreciate that Lovestruck Beast is just a massive on rate. It's a 5/5, but if they can control the 1/1s, it's not doing a whole lot. Well, once you add in Goblin Rabblemaster and Legion Warboss, there's a lot of 1/1s that just keep spilling onto the board every single turn, and the Lovestruck Beast is always online, or it can just be there to crew up some of your bigger vehicles. So those are the type of synergies that I look at these decks, and I'm just like, yeah, it's more than just big creatures. I really appreciate that. And talking about the same thing on the Hardened Scale side, it's that but amplified 10 times over, right? We're going to see draws where there is Hardened Scales and Winding Constrictor, and then, Walking Ballista can just take over the entire game.
It absolutely can, and very, very noteworthy, Kevin Hoang gets back the play here.
Yep.
I talked about it in the pregame show. One of the big things about the play, especially in post-board games, is it really unlocks Kevin's capability of dealing with Sam's mana accelerants.
Yes.
Like, not only do you have Fatal Push to just go ahead and straight up answer, and you can do that on turn 2 with, like, Hardened Scales Fatal Push. That turn is very, very nice for you. But you also have access to just turn 2 Walking Ballista on 1 and go ahead and kill the mana dork that way.
Sure, and if it's ever turn 1 Hardened Scales, turn 2 Ballista, you get to leave your Ballista on the board after you pick off their elf.
Great point. That's kind of the ideal opener because this deck basically only does one thing on turn 1. It plays Once Upon a Time, then it makes a 1/1 of some sort.
Yep.
So I need a prediction from you, Craig. Who did you go with in our pregame show? I can't remember.
So I picked Sam.
Okay.
I liked the redundancy of that deck more.
Okay.
It just has less moving parts that all need to come together, and the ones that it does have, it can just find more consistently.
And now that we head to a deciding Game 5, Kevin Hoang on the play, any doubt? You want to rethink your pick a little bit, or are you still sticking with Sam in the matchup?
I feel like I'm going to stick with Sam in the matchup, but like we've spoken about several times, these games are so close. Both of these decks have the potential to just put haymakers on the board, and they just crash into each other. We're talking about those Glory Bringers in the opposing hand, and there's Planeswalkers on this side, and the Hydra can just be this ridiculous creature. And so I'm going to stick with my pick, but either way, whoever wins, I just want a great game here, where they both execute their plan, and we get to see just a clash of these spectacular creatures.
It's who we're always rooting for on the SCG Tour, the great game, our favorite participant in these tournaments, and it sounds like Sam has returned. Why don't we head back down to the feature match area? And there you see players checking their notes a bit. We didn't really talk too much about sideboarding. I'll give you a quick read of Sam's sideboard. You can tell me what you think. It's looking like 2 Fry, 2 Aethersphere Harvester, 2 Pithy Needle, 2 Glorybringer, 2 Abrade, 2 Scavenging Ooze, 1 Setessan Tactics, 1 Lava Coil, and 1 Heroic Intervention. We definitely saw the Glorybringers in hand that game. They didn't even get to do anything, but they would have been huge had they come down.
Yeah, and we saw Abrade as well. I would think the Lava Coils come in here. We saw the Aethersphere Harvester. So there was a lot of sideboarding going on out of Sam's side.
What do you think he's cutting to make room for all this stuff?
Some of the more situational cards. It's possible the Gore Clan Rampager isn't in the deck anymore. Maybe he doesn't have all of the Questing Beasts in the deck anymore.
Okay.
It's tough because some of these cards, a card like Embercleave is very situational, but also one of the most powerful cards in this deck. So it's a question of, is he leaving that card in, or does he just feel like it's too situational and he's been siding it out?
I also wonder if he's considering maybe trimming the Goblin package a little bit. Maybe you want to lose some Legion War Boss. I think Rabblemaster's the superior of the Goblins, but I could see going down a little bit in Legion War Boss as well. Meanwhile, over on Kevin Hoang's side, we're looking at a Golgari Charm, 3 Fatal Push, 3 Thoughtseize, a Hangerback Walker, a Scavenging Ooze, 2 Noxious Grass, 2 Blight Beetle, and 2 Questing Beast. What do you think Kevin's up to? We saw the Questing Beast there.
We did see the Questing Beast. It's not a card I'm super excited about, but it does just trade with everything. It's so wild to me that a card as powerful as Questing Beast is a sideboard card.
Yeah.
What you're getting, 4 points of Death Touch haste that can kill Planeswalkers and can't be chump blocked. Like, that is just an insane card.
A lot of words on that card, Craig.
And there's times where it's like, no, I don't really want that.
I'll pass, thanks.
Yeah, but anyway,
even in Standard. I mean, it's the same thing in Standard.
Yes, Questing Beast, we saw that. The Noxious Grasp, probably coming in here. It's able to deal with opposing Questing Beasts and Lovestruck Beast. I don't know, maybe there are not enough targets for it.
Well, you have the Mana Elves. I think that's often important as well, especially when you're on the play. It could be a play-draw thing as well.
Sure. The Fatal Pushes definitely came in here. I wonder if a card like Hangerback Walker, where you're saying the game's going to go a little bit longer, if I make a 3/3 or 4/4 Hangerback Walker, it's going to be a disaster when it ends up trading with something.
We saw Hangerback Walker in that game when Kevin, Once Upon a Time, it was one of the cards revealed. So I do believe it's in the deck.
Well, he starts with a couple in the main deck already.
Oh, okay.
So it's a question of if he
did he
brings
bring in more?
Yeah. Yep.
Sure. Well, Sam on a mulligan to 6 here, and on the draw, stacking the deck against himself a little bit. But look, this deck not shy about mulliganing. Its threat's extremely, extremely powerful. You don't need all your cards. You just need some really good ones, and you want them fast. And Sam can still do that on a mulligan to 6 just as effectively.
Well, with him being on the draw, it might be more important that he's got interaction on turn 1 or 2.
Okay. Prioritize the Wild Slash instead.
Yeah, he might just be saying, you know, if I get a turn 2 Legion War Boss on the ground, maybe that's just not high impact enough if you're able to untap with a Hardened Scales on the board already.
Uh-oh, Craig. We've gone to 5.
Yeah, we saw it the other way in game 4.
Yep. Yeah, Kevin on a mulligan to 4. Did make a game of it, but ultimately came up short. And now Sam going to have to fight against the odds.
So I think Sam's deck might be better prepared to deal with working with less cards. He's got more
I agree with you.
high-impact cards that are good by themselves. A card like Glorybringer, as long as you can cast it, it doesn't need anything else on the board to just take over the game.
Totally agree. Sam's got the standalone threats, the standalone haymakers. Hoping for a playable 5 here from Sam. Like we said, we're always just rooting for good magic here on the SCG Tour. Sam fans is 7. No, not like this.
It's getting harder and harder.
Sam down to just 4 cards to start the game. And now we're at the point where you're looking for a miracle. Have any memorable wins in your playing history on really deep mulligans, Craig? Anything spring to mind?
So, yeah, I think when Fires of Yavimaya was the biggest thing.
Okay.
I believe that I had a multi-4 in the mirror, where I was still able to just play turn 2 Fires into I don't remember. It might have been Blastoderm, Blastoderm.
Okay.
And
that'll do it.
Just pick up the game.
Won a GP top 8 match on a multi-4 against Gaudennis. It was in limited. I think it's a little bit easier to pull that off in limited than constructed. But it felt real good. Sam's still thinking.
This is hard to watch.
There can't be better 3s, Sam. There just can't be, right? It looks like he's only got 1 land, and it's a tap land, possibly? It's a hard read to make with a quick flash of the hand, but, I mean, if Sam's thinking about going to 3, this hand has to be near disastrous.
Yeah, if it's 1 land and there's no 1 mana plays in it.
Okay, maybe just thinking about what cards are going back. See a little shake of the head there from Sam. Is going to keep 4 cards. On Kevin's side, turn 1 Hardened Scales. Stomping Ground tapped. Turn 2 Hardened Scales. Oof. Sam's got lands. Here's a Smuggler's Copter. This is a terrifying turn for Sam. What does Kevin have in reserve? Walking Ballista on 3. Small threats are now irrelevant.
Well, yeah, and if Kevin has another land drop, he could just be pumping that Walking Ballista almost for the rest of the game.
All right, so Sam looks like he has a Braid, and he's got a Legion War Boss.
Okay.
As well as a Harvester. So there's some options here. Going to go ahead and braid that Walking Ballista right now.
Love leading with a Braid.
Passes the turn back to Kevin. Kevin has spent a lot of cards, but untapped Overgrown Tomb means he's got more in the tank, and it's Questing Beast coming down for damage to Sam. Sam takes a draw here. Embercleave.
Looks like Embercleave.
Look, he's got a long way to go. This is the recipe, though.
Yeah, that's a card that has the potential to steal the game.
Here's a Smuggler's Copter Crew. Gonna pitch Embercleave.
Sure.
Okay, says it's unrealistic. Kevin finds Winding Constrictor, attacks with Questing Beast. Any token payoffs are going to be virtually insurmountable, but I don't see one here. Not yet. Sam takes a draw. Oh, there's another Embercleave in hand. That makes sense.
That does make sense.
I was going to say that seemed like the path forward. Now I get it. Legion Warboss going to produce another Goblin on this turn, assuming it lives. Seems mostly safe at this point. Only 2 cards in hand for Kevin. Boy, Goblin Rabblemaster would be so much better than this Legion Warboss.
It'd be ridiculous.
Here's a second copy of Legion Warboss.
And not being able to chump block the Questing Beast is going to turn into a big problem.
Yeah, a lot of damage able to be forced through. Kevin does have a play. Fatal Push on the Smuggler's Copter. Big play there. And the turn passes back to Kevin. If just one of those war bosses were a Rabblemaster, I think Sam is very, very live here. As it stands, it's still extremely challenging to put something together. Questing Beast doing a great job on offense and defense, as it often does. Both creatures head into the red zone. Sam at 9 life now.
Yeah, being at 9, and obviously the Questing Beast dealing damage in increments of 4, I think you have to just triple block this Constrictor.
Trying to preserve one more turn for yourself.
Yeah, it gives you that extra turn. If you double block it, you open yourself up to be blown out by a removal spell
Sure.
if the opponent wants to keep the Constrictor on the board.
Yeah, it seems like triple block or nothing. Chump.
Oh, he's saying, I'm going to get that Goblin back next turn anyway.
Follow up Hanger back Walker. That is huge. 3 counters on that Walker?
Yeah,
let's check that. You get a lot more than that, Kevin. Should be 5. We'll figure out the right number eventually.
Kevin's just guessing at it.
Yeah, some number of counters I'm putting on there.
It's somewhere between 1 and 3 dozen, I'm pretty sure.
2 blockers at the ready for Kevin. Sam can play a little bit more defense. Here's Ether Sphere Harvester.
Okay.
I can find a block on Questing Beast if it wants to.
Yeah, it just chumps. It's nice to gain the life, but it won't trade with it.
Both these creatures come through, crew up that Harvester. The board gets wider and wider. This game is much closer than I thought it was going to be, Craig. I'll say that.
Yeah, this is fun.
And Kevin just going to pass the turn back to Sam. 2 more tokens.
Just pass the turn. Why didn't we attack?
I think he attacked with Questing Beast, and Sam let it through.
Okay.
Yep.
There's our life totals are updated.
Sorry, I should have been clearer. But now Kevin's board, very wide, can think about crewing up that Harvester, double striking with Embercleave, gaining a bunch of life.
That is a big swing.
I mean, that might do it. There's a chance you can make that work, assuming it lives. Legion Warboss triggers. More Cedric Phillips. So one is going to crew up that Harvester. Just these 3 tokens attack. Wait, hold on. Not so fast.
Yeah, don't be shy. I wonder if we even want to send in the Legion War Bosses here.
Yeah, I kind of like a bigger attack. Sam, though, a little bit smaller. And now it's time for Embercleave. That is going to hit that Harvester. Give it lifelink. Gain 8. You go to 6.
And it buys him a ton of time. Look at all the chump blockers he has on the board.
Hangerback Walker gets a little bit bigger.
A little bit. 4 more counters going to that bad boy.
And now Kevin takes a draw. 2 lands. I think Sam might have done this. He is going to extend the head. Are you kidding me? Sam Berkenbile is gone. He literally exploded in joy. He has been blown out of that seat.
Stole the game with the Embercleave.
On a mull to 4. On the back of Embercleave, Sam Berkenbile moves on.